Y'all are not ready for this one. Most of my life, I was actually homeschooled, but when I actually did go to school, I went to a very, very strict private school. This school was very old school as well, let me say. I grew up in a place where private schools were very, very prevalent. Like, we had a ton of private schools, and they were way more popular than public schools. Like, I want to say we had about 15 private schools within like a 30-minute radius. The main reason my mom chose this private school was because it was very small. There was only going to be 3 other people in my grade. They also required me to do a trial day, which basically meant I had to go in one day dressed in like a fake uniform and sit in the classroom all day. Also, like, I don't know how, like, what that did. That was, like, in the spring, and I wasn't going to be starting school there until back to school season, like, in August. They also required me to test in, which isn't abnormal for private schools, but they made me be there over the summer almost every single day, testing, studying, doing all these different sorts of tests to get into their school. This school also was very ahead academically than any other school around there, which private schools around my area normally typically were. When I went to my other school, I was like 2 grade levels ahead because of how much they actually taught you. The biggest thing with this school is they were going to have you very well groomed, trained, and bred, basically. There was a lot of rules that you had to follow. One of like the grooming rules was like, obviously you had to be in uniform all the time. Like, if you were going to be wearing any sort of like hair accessory, it had to match your uniform. Your shirt always had to be tucked in. If you were a boy and you had a tucked in shirt, you had to be wearing a belt. You had to look presentable for school. You couldn't just like show up with wet hair. You had to say yes ma'am, no ma'am. We also had to have the same exact notes taken the same exact way. We had to have the same exact notebook. I remember the first day of school, it was literally them showing you how to organize like this 4-inch binder, and if you didn't take notes the way that they told you to, you would get points deducted. Like, they would do like note checks. It was very extensive, especially for 6th grade. I will say that the note tip did come in clutch, actually. Throughout my whole entire high school journey and throughout college, nothing was digital at the school. You could not have a phone, you could not have a smartwatch, you could not have like a MacBook. Everything was done on whiteboards or chalkboards. Like, there wasn't even any sort of smartboard in the area. Even the grade book was done the old-fashioned way. I was a very obedient child. Like, if I got in trouble, it ruined my whole entire month. I would be sobbing. I would feel so bad. I'd have like a horrible feeling in my stomach. Like, I did not break the rules. I got in trouble so often at that school, and it made me feel so bad about myself. I got in trouble for having handwriting on my hand. I got in trouble for how I was writing my twos. I got in trouble because one time I had a spray tan because I had a competition, and it was just like leftover from the weekend, and I got in trouble for that. I was given a Christmas solo, and in the middle of rehearsal for it, I accidentally spoke out of turn. The teacher pulled me aside and threatened to take away my solo because I was being disrespectful. When I say I was speaking out of turn, I accidentally said here, and I thought I heard my name, and it wasn't my name. They also, for some reason, didn't believe that bullying, like, existed. Going back to that Christmas solo, we obviously had, like, a little performance that we performed at, and I had a group of boys make fun of me and laugh at me during my solo. Like, it was, like, literally out of a movie. I ran out crying. I don't work in the school system, so I don't know if Veterans Day is just like an automatic day off, but I remember we didn't have Veterans Day off. We had a student whose dad was a vet, and so he took off the day of Veterans Day, and he got in trouble for missing the day because it was irresponsible and he should have known better. Obviously held you to a very high standard overall. This was like a private Christian school. I am a Christian. I had to recite either the full crucifixion or the full story of Jesus's birth, like verbally. I don't remember what one it was, but I remember it being so hard. Look, I have nothing bad to say about private Christian schools. I am very big in my faith. But it was literally the same test given over and over again from 6th through 12th grade. I don't think you should be grading 6th grade students the same way you are seniors in high school. But I remember it causing so much stress and anxiety because it was like paragraphs and paragraphs of the Bible that I had to verbally cite, and I could not do it. This school actually did end up closing, which I'm not shocked by at all. The reason for their closing was due to students not staying in the school, new students never enrolling. I have so many stories about that school. If you want more, I can dive into my brain. I still have contact with some of the students that I went to school with there. And talking to them years later, they had the same exact experiences, and some of them even had worse stories.
So when I was in high school, I was friends with this girl. For story's sake, we'll call her Hannah. So it was like near the end of our senior year. I had gone and driven to Hannah's house, and it was just me and her. We were just hanging out, whatevs. And she starts talking about how she wants to go to this party that these kids at our school were throwing. This location was called The Barn, and it was a literal barn that this kid would throw parties at, right? So I had never been to the fucking barn ever in my life. I never had fucking planned on going there, solely based on the fact, so the friend group that would throw parties at the barn, I didn't agree with their ideology. Frankly, I didn't even like any of them as people either. So I was like, fuck no, I'm not fucking taking my ass there. But she wanted to get her ass in there so bad just so she could talk to her ex-boyfriend that she has been on again, off again for how many goddamn years. And at this time, he was with a completely different bitch, you know? So in my head, I was like, there's so many things wrong with this situation and so many things that could go even worse. So me being me, just trying to please my friends, I was like, fine, we'll go, but I do not want to stay long at all. Like, just do what you need to do. Like, we need to be there like an hour max, maybe 30 minutes max. So I had hit up like 3 of my other friends to come with us because, like, again, like, I don't really know anyone at this fucking party, not really friends with any of them, don't like most of them. So yeah, they come with us, they pick us up, we arrive at the fucking barn, and the first thing we see is this kid fucking walks out of the barn and comes up to us and starts critiquing what my friends are wearing. Like, what the fuck is this? Are you a goddamn bouncer? And he's like talking to my friend like, I don't like the shoes you got on. Like, bitch, get the fuck back where the fuck you were. Do you, like, ugh. And immediately I was like, oh my god, I literally want to go home, but we press forward. So then my other 3 friends start talking about how they want to leave after like 30 minutes, maybe an hour passes. They're like, they want to leave. People here are fucking weird. They're giving them a hard time. They don't like them. And they just want to go home. And I was like, bitch, fuck yeah, like, I want to fucking leave, you know? So I'm talking to Hannah, like, all of us are talking to Hannah. We're like, okay, like, I think that was enough, like, we should go. Hannah didn't get a chance to talk to her boy yet, so she didn't want to leave, obviously. She started asking me, like, do you think we can just find another ride and you can stay with me and they can go? And I was like, me being people-pleasing again, I was like, sure, like, we'll just find a different ride. And then I told my other 3 friends, like, okay, it's fine, you can go, and we'll figure it out, you know? Which I don't know why the fuck I did that, because we weren't friends with anyone there. No one was gonna fucking take us home. So the night very unfortunately goes on, and then she ends up talking to her boy, and I'm like, fucking finally, now we can almost be fucking done, you know? So, like, they leave me to go talk. I'm like, whatevs, private conversation, don't really care. But I'm by myself, so don't know anyone, by myself. So at this point, they were gone for a while, and I was like, fuck, I'm literally so over this. Like, how long is this gonna fucking take? And I had went to where they were talking. They were, like, in the back of the barn, fucking back of the barnyard, and I go up to them. I'm like, hey, guys, like, what's going on? Can I join you guys? Because literally the whole entire time they were talking, I was, like, walking around this kid's fucking house. Like, literally a stranger's home. I'm just walking around, looking around, went in the barn, went inside their house, and I was like, wow, this is nice, you know? Hannah then tells me, she's like, the conversation's, like, really private. Like, can you, like, go somewhere else? And I was like, fine, because I have nowhere else to go anyways. So I did what I was told, trying to fucking, like, help my friend, and I just sit on this kid's fucking porch by myself, and I'm like, whatever, I'll just wait. And then this girl comes up to me, and she's fucking, like, stumbling all over the place, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? And she, like, grabs onto me and everything, and I'm, like, trying to help her up and everything, and I ask her if she's okay, and she's, like, telling me all the shit she was doing and everything like that, and I looked at her face, and I was like, oh my god, this girl, it looks so young, and I asked her, and I'm like, hey, how old are you, by the way? And she's like, oh, I'm in 8th grade, like, I'm 13. And I told her, I was like, bitch, we are literally seniors, like 17, 18-year-olds. And I was like, dude, I should have known. I should have never fucking come here. And I was telling the girl, I'm like, oh my god, what you need to do, you need to call your mother. You need to go home. I don't care how much trouble you're gonna get in. You cannot be here. And at that point, I was so fucking uncomfortable. So then I went back to Hannah, and I was like, please, can we, like, go? I'm so uncomfortable right now. Literally, a fucking preteen came up to me just now. And she continues to, like, shoo me away because she's still talking. So I'm getting fucking irritated. So I walk into the house, like, fucking storm into this person's fucking house, and I see a girl that I have, like, fucking art class with, you know, and I start talking to her. I'm like, hey girl, like, how you doing, blah 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 blah, and she's like, hey, like, blah blah blah, like, oh my god, I didn't think you'd be here, you know, like, you know how bitches be, you know. So I'm talking to that girl, and then all her little cheerleader friends come over too and start talking to us because they were all going home together, and that's when I slip in. I'm like, hey guys, like, real talk, like, do you think I can catch a ride with you guys? Because, like, my friend is still talking, I have nowhere to go, and Like, I'm literally, like, just stranded here. And they're like, girl, of course you can come with us. So I'm like, thank God they were fucking there that night. So then I walk back to the porch and, like, the fucking little girl is, like, on her phone and everything like that. She's like, my mom's gonna come pick me up. Okay, I sat there and I waited for her mother to come get her. And I talked to her mother. I didn't even know the fucking girl's name. But I was like, I don't know why she's here, but people here are older and these people are weird and I'm trying to leave. She needs to go home. So her mom took her home, and then I went to go find Hannah again. I'm like, Hannah, I'm leaving because fuck you, to be honest, for making me do this. Yeah, I'm obviously mad at her, and I just tell her I'm going. And then I leave with all these fucking, like, cheerleader girls. And I tell them to drop me off at Hannah's house, and I get there. And right when I get there, it's fucking 3 a.m. at this point. Hannah then calls me, and she's like, can you please pick me up? Oh my God. And I told her I was irritated, and I was like, dude, I've been wanting to leave for literally hours because we got there at what, maybe 10 o'clock? It's 3 a.m. Before I left too, I literally asked her, I'm like, is it okay if I go? Like, even though I'm fucking angry, I'm like, is that okay though? You know what I mean? And she's like, yeah, I'll figure it out. She didn't figure it out, so she just asked me. So she made me drive fucking like 20 minutes back because she was mad at me and everything, and I can't deal with people being mad at me before. So I got her, I dropped her off at her house, and I fucking took my ass home, finally. Moral of the story is, it's okay to have boundaries and you should be able to say no. And that if you are friends with someone who is constantly pressing you for their own benefit and doing things only for their benefit, yeah, stop being friends with them, girl.
Guys, I was meant to get up at literally 7 a.m. and the time is 9. My alarm didn't go off and my podcast recording is now. I need to be super speedy. This hair has got to last me all day and it's just a very, very busy day. So get ready with me for that, but I'm also going to give you guys the main story time on what's happened with my eyes and kind of an update for you all. For my base, I'm using the Maybelline Superstay and the Iconic London mixed together. I just wish this illuminator was a little darker and I wouldn't have to mix, but annoyingly, I need to look more tanned than I am. So, okay, so the story time is, I'm actually allergic to eyelash extensions. After you guys probably seeing, I've had eyelash extensions on for way over 2 years now, probably even 3 nearly, and all of a sudden I am now become allergic, and this was a complete shock to me. I am allergic to quite a few things, but never ever did I expect to be allergic to my eyelash extensions, considering how much I have them on my face. That was such an awkward pause, but basically the background of it is I got infills about 4 weeks ago now, and when I come out of getting my infills, absolutely fine, nothing happened. And then for like a week after, I started getting really dry under eyes, and I was like, this is so weird, never had this before. As in, like, all here was like flaky, it was awful, it was horribly like itchy sometimes, but not that bad. Like, it wasn't like incredibly bad. So I was like, this is really weird, I've never had this before. So I was just thinking maybe this is like an allergy to a primer I've used, or because I do use so much new products. I was like, I have no idea what this could be, until I went back to get my infills, and my lash tech basically was trying to tell me to not get them because she was worried that it could be an allergy to the lashes. But I was convincing this woman, and I love her so much, I was like, no, I think it's from this concealer, because to be fair, hands on heart, I do have a new concealer, and I was really sure that it could have been that too. So I was saying to my woman, like, please do my lashes, I need my lashes on, because I literally can't live without them. So she's just gone ahead and done my lashes for me, even though she said maybe we should have took a break. Yeah, and she did it, and I woke up the next morning, eyes were looking like this. As you guys can see, extremely swollen, extremely inflamed, and extremely crispy. So everything that I did not want to get after having them done. So at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, so it's definitely something to do with the lashes. So I DM'd her and showed her, and she said, okay, take some Puritan, see if it goes down. If it doesn't, you have to come in. I had a full day of shooting, so there was no way I was going to be able to get in. So I was stressing out, thinking, oh my God, can I cover this? Thankfully, it was all covered well for the shooting, and I don't think you saw it in the video, hopefully not. And it was like a football video, so it's quite far away, so I think it should have been alright. But when I got home, it was just progressively getting worse. This is what they was looking like. At this point, I was gutted and I knew straight away that I was having to get them taken off now. My lash tech texted me and said, right, you need to come in and get these off now, Amy. Like, this is not good. And she was worrying about things like my eyes might shut on me. So much could happen. So she was like, please just come in and we can get them off for you. And to be fair, at this point, I was kind of ready to just get them off my face because I was itching so bad, like rubbing, putting castor oil on everything to try to get them off. And when I tell you, I felt like I was going to cry because I've always just had lashes for that extra bit of boost of confidence. I don't have the strongest natural lashes, never have, never will. And I just loved having lashes on. So I was gutted.
Every day I come to the realization that I don't think I like men. Not in the way that you're thinking, because I love my boyfriend, but I just don't like men. My boyfriend has a fear of being cheated on, and I'm like, I promise you don't have to worry about that, because anytime a man opens his mouth around me, I'm like, oh, brother. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why. I don't know if it's because I was born into a family of matriarchs, or if it's because I literally see all the shitty things that men do to women. But most men seriously just make me feel unsafe and uncomfortable, because why am I taking a hot girl walk, you beep, slowly pull up beside me in your car, stare at me, I stare back at you, and it's not until I start walking away that you start driving away. Like, that's weird. Or why I'm waiting for my Uber and you're not my Uber, and you pull up and tell me to get inside your car, and I almost did because I thought you were my Uber. Or why you would start harassing me on the train on my way to work and start telling me that I would make any gay man turn straight because of my body, out loud in front of everyone. Or anytime I hear men talk about women like we're bodies or objects and not people. So yeah, can't really say I'm their number one fan, but I am my boyfriend's number one fan.
When I tell y'all do not let your man have a girl best friend, I mean that shit. And I'm gonna tell you guys a story about the time that I was a victim of being the other woman. You know what I mean? And when I mean victim, I mean I'm not trying to get at this man. You know what I mean? We're gonna do a full face of Weekend Fetish products. They're a black-owned small business, so go support them. All their products are so good. I'm gonna add them down below and use my code Arion10 for money off your order. Okay, so imagine a bad bitch in freshman year, you know what I mean? And I had class with this man, and so did my best friend. So it was like me and my best friend were basically besties with him, and we would basically hang out almost every day after school at like Dunkin' Donuts, you know what I mean? Because it was closer to my school. So we were all good until he got a girlfriend, basically, which honestly, I have no issue with her. I still don't have no issue with her, but basically what was happening was he would get with this girl, right? And they would be good for like a few months, and then like after a few months, you know what I mean, they would cheat on each other. Like they would basically both cheat on each other and then get back together, like almost every like semester, you know what I mean? So it was obviously the norm of him talking to us about his girlfriend, you know what I mean? And this was also the time that we were all like experimenting with the herbal essence, if you know what I mean by that. So it went from going to Dunkin' Donuts after school to the herbal essence, if you know what I mean by that. And basically he would basically tell us everything like about his whole relationship, and we would be like, oh damn, like if you like her still, like you should still try, you know what I mean? Until this one time, it was only me that went with him to do the herbal essence, if you know what I mean. And my friend that day, she just didn't go to school, so like we were just like, let's just go by ourselves, you know what I mean? And at this time, he was like off with his girlfriend. Like they were basically broken up, you know what I mean? And he was talking about her the entire way there, you know what I mean? And literally, he basically was talking about her, right? And then out of nowhere, he tried to kiss me. Dead ass tried to kiss me. Like literally like this. While I was so confused. And I was just like, oh, like I have to go. Like my dad, you know, he's crazy. Like he's calling me right now. Like I have to go. And then right when I got home, I told my best friend, and she's like, ooh, like, are we gonna have to stop being friends with him now? He basically hit me up right after that and was like, hey, like, I'm sorry that I did that. Like, I was just in the moment, you know what I mean? But I was like, we're both in the same moment. I was not reading that whole, you know what I mean? We're gonna do a commercial break and do the revealing of this lip liner stand. This is what it looks like. I love it. I'm gonna link it down below if you guys want to try it. So after that whole incident happened, we just like kind of stopped being friends with him. Me and my bestie just kind of like distanced ourselves from him, and he got with his girlfriend. So it was all good from there. Okay. So basically, I think like 1 year later, like during junior year, there was COVID and shit. And he hit me up randomly out of nowhere, And he basically was like, hey, like we should meet up for some like ice cream and shit. And I was like, okay, sure. I'm getting free ice cream out of it. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And basically we catched up and we were like talking about his girlfriend. He can't stop talking about that girl. You know what I mean? Like at that time I was even telling him like, hey, like get me with your homeboy because he's kind of cute. You know what I mean? And what that guy was telling me at that coffee shop is he was saying like me and that girl are never gonna get back together because like blah blah blah. Like I don't remember, but he was just like basically like we're never gonna get back together. And I was basically like, oh, okay, cool, I guess, you know what I mean? And then the girlfriend hits me up a day after that whole coffee shop thing. And she was like, hey, like, I know you went on a date with my boyfriend. Like, why are you trying to get with him? Like, all this shit. And I was just like, girl, like, I wasn't even trying to get with him. He asked me to go on that coffee date. I was not trying to. And literally, I told him, I was like, hey, like, I live far, right? So when I say I live far, that means, like, we're probably not going to hang out. And he still wanted to hang out with me. You know what I mean? And she was just texting me like, oh, like, stay away from my man, blah, blah, blah. Like, you've been trying to get with my man since the beginning. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then I showed the man all these text messages. And I was like, why is she texting me this? And he was like, oh, I used to mention you a lot to her. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, and I was just like, what type of stuff do you mention to her that she has, like, some type of, like, hatred towards me? And he was just like, oh, I would compare her to you a lot. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why are you trying to make us beef? You know what I mean? And he told me that they were done. He told me that he hasn't met up with her for like months. And I was just like, oh, so you lied to me, basically. I don't care if you lied to me, but I just don't like that your girlfriend is hitting me up because it's only been friendly shit on my end. Only been friendly. And it basically ended, we basically ended our friendship basically because it just was not gonna work out. Like he liked me and I didn't realize that, and I was just playing like buddy with him, but he really liked me, and that's not a good thing to, that's not really a good friend. Like, they're just trying to wait to fuck you, you know what I mean? So moral of the story is don't have guy best friends because at the end of the day they're gonna wait until your vulnerable moment and they're gonna want to fuck you, you know what I mean? They're not really your friends. So if you guys want to hear more stories, please let me know. I'm also starting a whole YouTube channel, so please let me know what you guys would want to see from that. And please go subscribe. It's linked in my bio. I love you guys so much. Bye.
I got jumped, so get ready with me to fight at school. So I literally got jumped at school this weekend, so I'm like, okay, when I come back to school on Monday, I'm going to get my look back. It's two important characters to the story. We're going to name them Rolly and Polly. Me and Rolly and Polly have the same first period together, and that's kind of how we all know each other. So I usually sit in the front of the classroom, so I'm over here, minding my business, and I hear from the back of me, look at that outfit. Who you talking to? Oh, I know if the shoe fit, don't wear it, but I had a whole pink outfit on. So I'm like, okay, like, I feel like you talk about me because I'm the brightest one in the room. Everybody is wearing, like... So I didn't respond to it at first, but then I started hearing laughing. So I'm like, okay. So I turn around. I'm like, what's so funny? Because, like, what's going on? Like, huh? Go out picking for a fight, but I feel like it just finds me. Only over here talk about something. Okay, and I always talk about you, now what? So, girl, I'm like, okay, you don't want to do that with me, girl. I got 99 jokes for you. So now we start roasting, and we start, like, roasting each other back and forth. So it gets to the point where I stand up. I'm like, okay, like, what's the problem? Like, what's for real? So everybody had to calm me down. They had to calm them down, too, because I don't know what they were on. They was jumping like some jumping jacks. So after the period ended, the teachers had to hold them back so they can talk to the teacher because I wasn't the one that was doing the most. They was supposed to talk about me first. So I'm like, okay, girl, like, what's really going on? So I'm walking to my second period class, and I'm one of the first people there, and the teacher's not even in the classroom, like, mind you. So it's just me in the back, taking down all the chairs, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. I feel my spidey senses tingling, like, I don't know. I just get kind of paranoid out of nowhere. When I get to my seat, I get to take my seat down. Girl, I hear... I'm like... Girl, it's Rolly and Polly, like, storming at me, girl. Like, y'all, it's Dex right here, and she's, like, storming at me. So I pick up my chair that I didn't take down. I'm like, move. Boom. Girl, I threw it at him, girl, but I didn't hold it back because Polly came from around, girl, and just... It was a disaster. So they did what they did, and they hurried up and rushed out the room, girl, when I was on the ground. So I'm like, okay, This is crazy. So now I have to get my lick back tomorrow, and you guys are going to see the full video. By the time you're watching this video, the YouTube video is already out. So go ahead and go watch the fight, and go ahead and go watch the Storytime on it too. Link in bio, YouTube channel, Armani West.